Hopefully you enjoyed watching Creatures of the Deep. There's another one coming on insects. So this at home stuff is actually working out pretty good from this regard. We don't always have time to do this in class. This next phylum that we're going to discuss is arguably one of the very most successful. Arthropoda. This is the phylum that we consider as the insects, although they are not the only members of this phylum. They are the most prevalent. Over 1 million species. That's insane right there. That's a great number of species considering we've only named about 2. Estimated to be 1 billion individuals. That's 10 to the 18th. That's a great many individuals. It's lots of zeros. Hallmarks of their success. Segmentation. That's always been a hallmark of evolutionary success. The exoskeleton is a plan that's obviously working. The jointed appendages, you know how fast these guys can be. And then all of these major adaptations to living on this planet. And the exoskeleton also acts as a cuticle, which is made of chitin and it's pretty thick. As you know, some of these things are pretty tough to kill. Molting, that's how they end up with their new skeleton. You can call it shedding or molting. Molting's a different process than shedding, but it's the same goal. Segmentation, it generally results in 3 parts: the head, the body, and the tail segments. The open circulatory system is something that we discussed in our earlier portion of the year when it came to anatomy, and this is where the blood kind of just circulates with the body fluids, hemolymph, and there's no vessels that the blood is restricted to. And then most aquatic species have gills, whereas these guys, the air breathers, have air sacs. So I know this is a lobster, but this is the general body plan. So you can see the head there, the thorax, and then the abdomen. So the head is combined into one phrase called the cephalothorax. And then you know that these come in a number of different plans, but this is the generalized plan. When we include spiders in here, we can talk about where their head is, where their body is, and where their thorax. All right. So a couple of groups. The chelicerates, these are the horseshoe crabs. You know, I have one on the counter over there, which I'd be picking up if we were at school right now. But only surviving member of the marine chelicerates that are 300 million years ago. So these are not 300 million years old, but they're part of that lineage. So this guy here, obviously very alarmingly huge water scorpion that says 3 meters in length. And that's about what's represented next to that man there. Then we've got our arachnids. Some of you guys have phobias to this. The scorpions, spiders, ticks, and mites, right? You're more likely to die probably from a tick or mites and infections than you are from scorpions or spiders, depending on where you live. Most are land-based. Nocturnal predators are the scorpions. Spiders are diurnal. Diurnal is the opposite of nocturnal, active during the day. And then mites, this is disgusting. The domestic scavengers. These can live in our beds. Let's get out of here. Let's see. Dust mite. That's 420 micrometers. That's tiny. That's 420 millionths of an inch. So that's a microscopic image, digitally enhanced. So they're pretty gruesome dudes, man. Man. Millipedes and centipedes. I don't know if any of you guys ever had a pet. Show of hands. I can't see them anyway. Similar segments over the length of their entire body, and the legs have joints. So millipedes are more like worms. It's these guys here. After I choose the pen again. Right? That's about 7 millimeters. And these are the centipedes here. The difference is the number of legs per segment. In millipedes, 2 pair of legs per segment, 2 pair. Centipedes have 1 pair of legs per segment. Right? And these are generally the poisonous ones that are carnivorous, and millipedes are more scavengers and decomposers. Crustaceans, thank you very much. You guys like these, don't you? That's awesome. Nearly all aquatic are the crustaceans, our groups here. Barnacles, calcium carbonate, that's chalk, if anybody's paying attention. And then they make adhesive stronger than any synthetic that we've been able to come up with. So spiderweb silk is stronger than any steel cable and lighter. And this adhesive is stronger and probably longer lasting than any adhesive we've come up with. So give chemistry, 150, 200 years, and that's what they've come up with. You give evolution a couple of million years, and you see what the outcome tends to be. So here's the big bad daddies, insects. Single most successful group of animals. No, I said something like that before. Don't forget, guys, that the single-celled organisms are, depending on how you want to argue this, they are the most successful. Just by mass, they outweigh us 9-1. They've been here for 3.9 billion years. They do everything. So prokaryotes are the way to go when it talks about success. But in terms of animals, so 70% of all Earth species are approximately going to be insects. So that's that 1 million out of like 1.5 million or so. That's around 70%, 67%. Estimates say as many as 30 million unidentified species. We're just scratching the surface with identification here. So in addition to the arthropod features, they have flight, they're waterproof, complex life cycle, short generation times. Guess what we're about to start seeing? The state bird of Louisiana, that's right. Culex pipiens. Generation time of 10 days. That's why we got to dump those tires and wheelbarrows and buckets and anything else that holds water, fellas, because in 10 days of standing water, these populations can double. The life cycle, they go through a complete metamorphosis. I think we're going to take a peek at that. Nope, we're not. I'm lying. Maybe it's down here. No, it's not. I don't care. Metamorphosis. So the larvae develop into the adult. So there's a stage of time that they have to develop. And this is what I was thinking of here is this. So that's the larval stage. We call them caterpillars around here. But that's the feeding stage. Then they go into this pupa stage where they latch onto something and develop. So they're really concerned with feeding here. They grow in size very, very rapidly, doubling mass in short periods of time. And then they'll stick around, pun intended, in this stage. And then when ready, they'll hatch out into this, butterflies and moths. But 80% of insects follow that basic plan, right? Fruit flies do this. Incomplete metamorphosis is when the larva goes through multiple molts. Okay? Dragonflies, for instance, go through this stage. The larva just continues to develop into the adult. The juvenile resembles the adult. So it's usually in class where I take this opportunity. Let's do this. These are crazy, man. You find these in the water and you think, what the hell kind of bug is this? Well, it's just a little juvenile dragonfly. Prehistoric looking boogers. Well, dragonflies are prehistoric looking, so there's no surprise. Anyway, take a little aside there with you. So sometimes the larvae are aquatic, as I mentioned. Okay? Good. Adults are terrestrial, air breathers. So this is that modular body plan. This is the arthropod plan, but it's also for insects as well. Usually a pair of antennae, eyes, and mouth parts. Mouth parts do a number of different activities based upon the feeding strategies of the individual. So you think of a mosquito versus a plant eater like this grasshopper. Okay. Most adults, 3 pair of legs. That's that 6-legged insect that we always talk about. And they do any number of things, man. And then insects are the only avian invertebrates. Probably misused avian there, but you know what I mean. They fly. And then this is just crazy too. These are co-evolutionary patterns. See that walking stick? We have those here. This leaf bug, which I usually have y'all at the board in class, but this is the abdomen. And then the upper arms, the head. That's the middle leg, and I can't see the other leg. This here is a caterpillar that resembles poop, so something's going to leave it alone. So there's some legs there. The hawk moth caterpillar, this looks like a damn snake right there. The owl butterfly, these eye spots resembling the eye spots on an owl. So no surprises there. You know these things exist, but they're pretty awesome. So that link that I've sent you for Creatures of the Deep, on that page you'll find life insects, and this one is a doozy, guys. This is a really good one. All these are good, but we're going to give this one a watch as I send out your next assignment. We need to meet, so we'll get together, and I'll make sure you see that in Portal. So I'm just recording this video so it's available. The plan is for y'all to do it Friday, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Later.